Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is David Novak. I'm going to do a little mail opening here. I know this is a staple of booktube viewing. A little bit bent up. Mass market paperback. Triple your reading speed. I read somewhere that this is a good book to try. I hate this. This thing is busted. You can't fault the post office for that. In this case, I don't care. It was a cheap book. I am not going to raise a fuss about it. I really don't care. Unfortunately, I've been waiting for this to come. I had a realization. Look at this beautiful cover, by the way. Just lovely. I had a realization that my problem right now is I have been focusing preponderantly upon the news of current events in my country, the United States of America, where a fascist takeover is being attempted. And I have no concentration for books. And I've come to the conclusion, while I have occasionally managed to read a little bit of Francis Parkman, which was one of my reading goals for this year, I have decided that I must just accept that the current situation may well not permit my reading of all these books that I would like to read. And you can see some of them here. Other ones are being used to prop up the camera. So tripling my reading speed is not going to help me if I simply don't want to read. And for me, anytime I fall into this kind of mode, it's potentially fatal. It's potentially a permanent status or state for me, that of not reading, because I am not thoroughly wedded to reading. I did not, come on. I did not grow up as a disciplined reader by any means, though I did read occasionally. If we have any trouble, this is the one you can blame. Polydactyl, but not the same polydactyl on my book cover, Quarantine Boutique. You can go to my Lulu page, linked in the description box, and look at that cover. This is not the same cat, although it looks very, very similar. I say it looks, although she looks. That cat on that cover was a boy and much larger than her. And I think the photo shows the back paws as well, which were much more impressive than these petty things. This cat is a sweetheart, but I better let go of her because this type of skin is terrible. I mean fur, and I'm deadly allergic. So I'm just going to go with the flow. Now, I've heard reports with all of this Epstein file stuff breaking up. It's possible that plans are in the works to get rid of Donald Trump. I will welcome that if it happens, but I don't think we are out of the woods just with the absence of this man. The pillars of support of fascism have not been thoroughly weakened. And so to change all that has happened is not likely, is not easily likely. I'm saying to try to revert American society back into something with a semblance of decency. And I would like to see more than a semblance of decency. I have some demands. I've said I would like to see a national goal of eliminating lawns. We don't need lawns, even lawns such as one finds in golf courses. I say get rid of lawns everywhere, just as a national goal. That's one thing. I also want to see health care for all, universal health care, free for everybody. And I want to see higher education. Education for all, free, and higher education included in that. So that's things that I demand upon seeing, not that anybody listens to my demands. That said, I am not at all politically inclined. I'm not interested in politics at all. I don't understand the political machinations behind everyday events for the most part. And I would rather not be devoting my time to such things. However, in the present time, it seems appropriate. Something just zipped past there. Now, I follow a booktuber who wrote an interesting post, and because of the sensitivities involved, I'm not going to identify the booktuber. I follow hundreds and hundreds of different booktubers, and this was a community post or that segment of YouTube where you can write little notes, that kind of thing. And this booktuber wrote, I think this might have been from yesterday, 100 Palestinians in Gaza were killed Sunday at a distribution site. Palestinian Catholics were killed in an airstrike at church, and thousands are suffering from starvation. This is genocide, point blank, period, and the UN has done nothing. What is it good for? And it's a very good question, but it's a question that I think does not have an answer, because obviously it is not good for anything. Genocide is not good for anything. I think we could all agree on that, but there are, granted, a lot of people who don't agree on that. So recently I put out a book titled Against Fascism. This is a nice photo of a protest at Daly Center. I don't know if there are any Palestinian flags in this photo. I don't see any, but they are not uncommon in these protest events, protesting the rise of fascism, protesting the stripping away of civil liberties. You must remember that early on, students were abducted and transported to detention centers because of things perhaps which they had said pertaining to Palestine. One student had written some kind of an op-ed for the school newspaper. Now, this is totally antithetical to the spirit of my country, free speech as we call it, but this current regime, the Donald Trump regime, is very much opposed to free speech. So this book comes and talks about a lot of things that were happening during the first, 3 months or 4 months of this presidency, and kind of holds them down to memory. So that is a function I hope that the book fulfills for the future. But oddly enough, these were all poems from 3 successive notebooks that I was using. And oddly enough, the initial poems, and then sporadically throughout the course of the 3 journals or notebooks, poems were written which mentioned Gaza or talked about the genocide in Gaza. And so I thought, I cannot give an answer, what is it good for, because it is good for nothing. But I thought, by way of response, something I have not done, I could read my poems, give a poetry reading with the poems that touch upon the occurrences in Gaza. And so I have gone through quickly and picked out the ones that I think are to the point. I'm not sure if I missed any. I just breezed through looking for such things, but I will just start and go through. It looks like I have 3, 7, 10, 13, 15 poems. So that should not carry us over too long. So I will read the first one if I can find it, which I can do. I just can't do it in a timely manner. Okay. This one was from February 15th of 2023. Prior to the mad rush of poems written for this book, I was writing something like 4 poems a year at maximum. And so this poem was just inspired by something that I heard on the news. It is titled The Siege of Amalek. Heavenly Lord, I view the wreck as I lie gored in Amalek. The soldiers boot upon my neck as me they shoot in Amalek. As bombs explode, can no one check this lot bestowed on Amalek? So hapless sighs the walls bedeck the bloody cries in Amalek. Us they destroy, can none protect sad girl and boy in Amalek? Sweet babes destroyed without a speck of mercy void in Amalek. No recourse nor no place to trek, barred every door in Amalek. Yet revels fill the discotheque. They dance who kill in Amalek. They taste their drink with triple sec, while here we sink in Amalek. Innocent we become the dreck of strewn debris in Amalek. So while bombs drop, who signs the check? Will this siege stop of Amalek? Heavenly Lord, I view the wreck as I lie gored in Amalek. Kind of an odd thing that the one of the critical points in the election campaign of the last presidential election was there were a lot of people talking about how Kamala Harris would continue the Biden policies pertaining to Gaza, which were not good policies. But nobody ever thought that electing a moral reprobate would give Israel a green light to more heinous atrocities than had hitherto been perpetrated upon the innocents of Gaza, which certainly Kamala Harris would have done her best to put the brakes on. It is hard to understand how people could be so swayed. It should be a principle, number one, that it is best not to elect an absolute and utter moral degenerate to high political office. Now, the next poem comes from February 29th of 24. So about a year after, and it pertains to the young man who self-immolated in protest of what was occurring. 8 for Aaron Bushnell, 8 meaning 8 stanzas. Before the barred consular gate, the soldier in protest of hate strode forward to self-immolate. I must be missing a word there, or else I fucked up, pardon my language, because the soldier in protest of... No, that's right, I guess. Why didn't it read that? Well, let me just start again. Sorry. You're just seeing a typical poetic incompetence. 8 for Aaron Bushnell. Before the barred consular gate, the soldier in protest of hate strode forward to self-immolate. Self-dousing with accelerant, free Palestine commenced to chant this young man in no mindless cant. As flames engulfed on every side, his plaintive, horrid words he cried, and with them on his lips he died. Free Palestine, let us not idle in witness to acts genocidal, but heave a protest growing tidal. As he did, we must sue for peace. Cease fire and let the killing cease, that man might find from sin release. Victory comes to those who grieve. From wanton slaughter let reprieve belong to man and never leave. Lord, I will study war no more, and chilling murders all deplore, even as Bushnell spoke before. For love but offers anodyne, peace, safety, both for me and mine. I grieve and cry, free Palestine. That line, victory comes to those who grieve. That's a rough paraphrase from something in the Tao Te Ching, the book by Lao Tzu, as we say it, or the I guess you say it that way. That victory belongs to the grieving side. I once showed that to a military man, a Navy SEAL, as a matter of fact. Well, I told that to, I didn't show it to, and he said, wow, whoever wrote that knows a lot about the military, knows a lot about war, specifically. The next one is from July 28th of 24. These may not all be in proper sequence because to get the poems to fit on the page, I shuffled things around a bit here and there. Titled, The Tides Turning. Civilian buildings targeted as though the place were Amalek. Countless the injured, missing, dead, when lives are classed as dross and dreck. Numberless bombs that from the sky descend, explosions tear and burn, while those who perpetrate deny that one day soon the tide may turn. Unstoppable, the fierce onslaught seems something from the book of hell, a revelation come to naught, the words a God was wont to tell. For so we see the innocent, the pure in heart, too we discern, all to abomination sent unjustly, yet the tide may turn. High in glass towers, those who make the plans which make the rivers flow, rivers of blood, pretend mistake as though they did not mean it so. They feast on wine and caviar and grind their morals in the quern. Bibi ignites his big cigar, though smoke will clear and tides will turn. Alas, the news has all gone dark, yet from afar we watch the fire. What started as a little spark turns conflagration climbing higher, anon to spread both far and wide. As lessons seen none can unlearn, nor where the guilt lies be denied, and soon the tide has got to turn. Bibi, of course, being a nickname for Netanyahu. The next one, I think, comes from a little bit before that. Oh, no, it's actually after still. So November 20th of 24. When one writes a book with speed based upon contemporary events, mistakes do crop in. And so there is a mistake here. The title is Adnan al-Bursh, 1974 to 2024, D. Gaza. Well, he did not die in Gaza. He was extracted from Gaza and then murdered. But I'm leaving the book stand. Somebody, when it goes into multiple editions, somebody can come and put a footnote. Adnan al-Bursh, 1974 to 2024, D. Gaza. Somehow his death involves in my own life. Dr. al-Bursh, amid this world of strife, beacon of hope and help amidst despair, when darkness casts its death's pall everywhere. Tireless he worked, both in the hospital and on the street, both day and night, whilst all about him rained bombardment from the rubble, sprung for the surgeon vast amounts of trouble. Piecemeal the city fell reduced. He worked, nor for brief moments pause his duty shirked, except to give a smile or to encourage some famished soul when hope was hard to forage. Adnan al-Bursh, you they beset and killed, targeted for your love and talent skilled, because you brought compassion to the city, reduced to grim grotesqueness, gross and gritty. Somehow your death involves in my own life. Somehow my fingerprints are on the knife which sheds blood multitudinous. I live, a man of flesh and bone. May God forgive. I mean, one thinks automatically of that passage towards the end of Karski's story of a secret state, where the one Jewish exile, I guess, had asked the Jews of the ghetto, the Warsaw Ghetto, for instructions. And their instructions, I don't know if it was just to him specifically or to Jews abroad, that he should commit suicide, and that was what he did. Dr. Albersh was born in 74, so he was younger than me by more than a decade. The next one is titled Cleansing the Land. I should say that I haven't read these for a long time, so if I stumble, please bear with me. As I say, Donald Trump has explicitly given permission to the Israeli government to do its worst. This one is titled Cleansing the Land, and it's from February 12th of 2025. He says that we will move them out, the people of the land. So let them whoop and let them shout, and we'll give them a hand. I take upon me all their sins, so Christ-like let me be, the one who will not with words mince responsibility. Development is what I do. We'll shove them from their homes. Then build, 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 the place renew with urban pleasure domes. A Riviera on the water I'll build for us and ours. Let them depart or fall to slaughter. I'm not a man who cowers. We'll cleanse away that dirty brown and make the sun shine bright. Portfolios tell what we own in deeds of parchment white. Thus spake the flabby public man, his skin fish belly pale, though painted up with a false tan, so false his words assail. We'll move them out, Callooh Calais, so he went on repeating. His handlers put him fast away, who would heed no entreating. His words ring out, though. Move them out. We've heard those words before. Colonially, it was a rout, but people know the score. This one is from March 21st, titled How Many Children? How many children in one day can Israel kill? The number's high. How many children have to die to fructify this policy? Oh, Donald Trump desires to make a paradise and pleasure dome in Gaza, but we first must break the joy and love of every home. So he declared, the beach is nice. When the blood has washed away, replacement children will entice upon the water's edge to play. How many children? Once again, the USA says not enough, slaughtered to build the rights of men within a world which tortures love. How many killed? How many maimed? How many to disease, starvation are left bereft? They should be shamed who strive for greatness in a nation. How many children in one day can Israel kill? The number's high. How many children have to die to fructify this policy? This one is titled For Hossam Shabbat, journalist, and it's from March 30th. Hossam Shabbat, the journalist, murdered in an Israeli strike, one of more than 200 like, since genocide began and also people to resist. A journalist at 23, he told the truth and made report, well knowing life might be cut short, duty fulfilling as a man possessed of dignity. The occupation of that land brought great contention at the start, and I for it have no more heart. Give them their freedom, and then let this endless war be banned. The truth of it I will not hide, though weapons may be sent from here. Home profits always treasured dear. The bombs and bullets purchased here but service genocide. Hossam Shabbat, the journalist, both lived and died in service of humanity, displaying love such as within our treacherous world is all too often missed. And here I would ask the future editor to put a little footnote about this man and his story. Moving on to April 8th. This is titled Riffs from Words Spoken by Dr. Tanya Haj Hassan. Never before, Riffs from Words Spoken by Dr. Tanya Haj Hassan. Never before had I seen shredded bodies, nor children raw beheaded, nor burns so many and extensive, so indefensibly offensive. Never seen in such quantity so much brain matter out, to be a commonplace. How tell the shocks? A severed foot brought in a box of one who asks I reattach it. How hard enough it is to watch it from the external standpoint of a stranger, not someone you love, having shared life with them long time. A pediatric doctor, I'm allowed to take a distant view, so much of gore accustomed to. But even I could not escape the harshness after every scrape, as it can no more be denied in Gaza is a genocide, and people in the years to come will wonder why their voice was dumb. Was it because their fear they kept silent, atrocities bewept? It is a slaughterhouse for humans, and when the future's light illumines what happened all in retrospect, how will the moral intellect then live with that complicit silence that witnessed such egregious violence, murder and mayhem, all unstinted before one's eyes, not far off hinted? A genocide reported and documented in real time. So we are not Jan Koski escaping to Europe and making a report to incredulous ears. No. Moving along to April 11th. This one is titled Israeli Strikes. Fire belt strikes upon the neighborhoods have rattled Gaza, Earthquake bombs also, shaking foundations, bricks sent to and fro as casualties climb into multitudes. The tents of displaced families in safe zones, as they portend to be yet do not serve, were targeted, and many little ones with families died when death refused to swerve. Death was directed by Israeli forces, targeting residential buildings greatly, a great accumulation of resources focused on them, delivered not sedately. Since Israel broke the ceasefire agreement several weeks previous, great has been the woe as bricks and hands and feet fly to and fro, and people dream of war, what to be free meant. Granted, some people may not like what the muse delivers. It's not my job to like it either. It's just my job to write it down. So what is it good for? Nothing. This one is titled Disaster Distraction. The plan is to thin out the population of Gaza, cutting out the water, say. So Israel puts no checks on devastation in hopes that Palestinians go away. Between a genocide and ethnic cleansing, making the place now uninhabitable, witnesses upon the ground may see commencing, but they have little venue left to tell. Free of constraints that Biden and that Harris placed on its government, though they were few, Israel counts on chatter about tariffs to keep our public eyes off what they do. While fascists wreak methodical disorder upon these once secure United States, gazes turn inward, questions at the border become platforms for exercising hates. So Israel gropes toward final solution at lightning speed, the West in disarray, and people get called rubbish and pollution, both here and there, things to be swept away. The next one is from the same day as the last one, April 19th. Parallel decimations. Proscribing thus no food, fuel, water, or electricity, thus augments 18 months of slaughter of one ethnicity. So fares the world today with Gaza's protests American squelched as kidnappings by the dozens and force-effective ban. There have been universities where free speech prohibitions begin. Speak out and they will seize. Those left make their submissions. Submitting to authority forms basis of the movement that in America we see. But will it bring improvement? Parallel decimations thus we witness going on, of life for them, while as for us, it's freedom going down. This one's tangential as well, or tangential. I'm never sure how to say that, but It's real short, titled Films. Birth of a nation, triumph of will, screams before silence, films, if you will. And then from April 20th, tell me what a war criminal looks like. Gaza has been turned into a mass grave. The dead, the dying, the rushing to assistance. Bombardment's goal to leave nothing to save, but blot the Palestinians from existence. This is the Netanyahu plan, not hidden, nor does the population much dispute. The strips remains like some gigantic midden, which people bore like rats, targets to shoot. The devastations reign both day and night. Food, water, fuel, electric, aid prevented, yet spirits crumbling not beneath that might, which in atrocity has not relented. Tell me then what war criminals look like, if not in image cut like Netanyahu's. A genocide's not war, nor wars, the bombs which strike, applauded even by American yahoos. Is this right? Oh, no, I went to the wrong page. This one is titled Burning Conscience. The aid flotilla bound for Gaza received some kind of bomb, scarcely outside the coast of Malta, but we will not grow numb. It came as an attack on conscience, humanitarian aid burning beneath egregious sanctions. We will not be afraid. That poem has two versions. In one I wrote, "Let us not be afraid." It needs something to parallel the structure of the first stanza. So, but we will not be afraid, but I don't want to add that extra syllable there. Sorry, just more poetic incompetence. This one is titled The Trump and Netanyahu Plan, from May 5th. Directive has been issued to remove all Palestinians from the Gaza Strip. A Trump and Netanyahu plan to prove that might makes right within their iron grip. It is proposed as voluntary, but a kind of voluntary done by force, whereby a people from its homeland shut finds exile in the grave or something worse. This one is titled Eyes on Rafah. All eyes on Rafah may, oh, it's from, oh, I didn't put the date, my. Oh, there it is. I didn't tab the date to the right side. So this is from May 23rd. Eyes on Rafah. All eyes on Rafah may observe the demolition done, but witnesses have lost their nerve as starvation comes on. Emaciated children file past unregarding eyes, rubble, debris, pile after pile. Machines must pulverize. The roads to serve as arteries must first be built before new camps may take their refugees. These are the crimes of war. I think I missed one or two, because there are ones that I vaguely remember, but I as I say, I went pretty fast through it. If you would like to find those missing poems, you can find information about getting this from my Lulu site in the description box. To close, I will read one that I just read the other day. This one is called The Litmus Test, and it refers to something that American poet June Jordan felt was a litmus test for modern times. Queer liberation is the litmus test of modern times, along with Palestine, averred June Jordan, poet Sibylline, here in a world in which we all are pressed. It is a moral question. Where stand you? May others be allowed to live, or must their lives be pummeled down into the dust, save they conform and to false dogma hew? She saw herself the history of rape, the history of rejection of herself, of armies plundering their way to pelf against her mind without means to escape, the history of battery and assault, the terrorized incarceration of herself and who it might be she might love, the sanctity of each desire at fault. We must be free, and from these fraud-based strictures imposed upon us from without, free, to live and be whom we desire to be, not patterning oneself on painted pictures. Let all the world be free, and that includes free Palestine and those in Sikhat prison, each to his own devices, to bedizen according to internal pulchritudes. So, those in Sikhat prison have recently been free of Sikhat prison, returned to Venezuela, which many of them were trying to amnesty them, or is it amnesty? No, to asylum themselves away from. I always get those words confused. So not as free as they would like, but I am hoping sincerely that this President Bukele comes to regret with all his heart and soul the deal that he made with Donald Trump, as frequently collaborators do. We still have our ethnic cleansing scenario occurring in the United States with largely brown-skinned people being targeted, with people who speak Spanish in place of or along with English, but oftentimes even that is of no account. There was a recent video. I'll just send you, link you in the description box, a a Bulwark episode which clips highlights, but a video where the journalist Mehdi Hassan debates a number of white supremacists. The policy of the Trump administration now is clearly and indisputably that of white supremacy, trying to install that everywhere that it can be done. I don't think it can succeed, but unfortunately, a lot of terrible, terrible suffering and injustices are being committed as we eke toward that day. And we also look to the day when Palestine is free. So, thank you very much for stopping by my channel.